So this is a situation that opens up a lot. And I'm going to try to do it without too many cuts, but I stutter and curse and stuff like that. So when somebody gets fired, or let's say you have the SIE and the 63, and you did it when you're in college, or you did it to get a job, or you got fired because you failed at once. So some firms do that, which is shit. But you want to just get sponsored. And we know that the freaking FINRA is gatekeeping this shit, and I am so against it. They should let anyone take the 7, but you can't. So they go, should I just get a job at a crappy firm and just let them sponsor me and then leave? And I get that. I probably have that conversation maybe 10, 15 times a year. As a rule, I am not 100% against that. Only because it's hard. If you have the 7, it's going to be easier to get hired, right? But the problem is, if you go somewhere just to take the test and then leave, they can mark your U5, mark it up, okay? That's one of the things. But there are firms like Primerica will let you work part-time, so which I don't mind, right? Because think about it. I don't love them. As a long-term thing, unless you're a really good salesman, it's hard because it's what they call eat what you kill, where you only get paid if you make a sale, which, again, if you're a salesman, go for it. And if you're really good at it, that's going to work. But a lot of people can't do that. Or if you're just starting out, who the hell's going to give you money, right? I mean, you're still learning the business. But you can go to a place like Primerica, and this way you can keep your job. Like as a teacher, I told one guy, he's a teacher, he's making over $100,000 a year as a teacher on the West Coast. And he goes, well, I want to switch because I think there's a lot of money. I said, well, why don't you go to a place like this, get your licenses, and then see if it works and see if you like it before you pull the trigger. Because a place like that will let you. And Primerica is fine. You'll never get in trouble with them. But if you go and then leave right away, they might get annoyed. And while being annoying isn't horrible, you don't want them marking your U5 as something wrong like that. I mean, not that they would always do that, but you never know who you're going to get. But that is not what I'm talking about. So that's fine. You can do that. I'm not a fan of that, but just do it. But here's the problem. If you go to like a shit scammy firm that's just going to let you do it, like a cold calling firm, nothing wrong with cold calling, but if they're like a Boiler Room or like a Wolf of Wall Street type of firm, here's the problem. Look at their broker check. Make sure they don't have a lot of disclosures. Because here's the thing. Once you work for a firm and you register, your name is attached to them for the rest of your career. And here's a part of it. If 10 years later, let's say you do it right. You work for the firm, you get licensed, you say, I don't want to be here, you leave. 10 years later, you're working for a Goldman or Morgan Stanley or Merrill Lynch, and that firm gets in trouble and gets barred or they're expelled, that's on your U4. That's on your record. You now become a person who worked at a barred firm. Now, that's not officially a disclosure, but that's on your broker check. People will see a big red thing, firm expelled, and it's going to be on your timeline forever. So you can do this, but be wary that this can happen. It can come back to bite you even when you think it's long gone. So if you're going to get a job, and I want people to get their licenses, I'm with this coalition, the FinPro Coalition, just trying to get people, getting FINRA to stop making you I'm breathing heavy. I don't know, because I'm fat maybe, to stop making people be sponsored. I'd love it if they let anyone take the 7. Yes, personally, it helped me business-wise, but in reality, I've been always thinking that. It hurts the marginalized people and all that, but I'm not going to go on there. But the point is, they should let you take it without being sponsored. But if you need to really get it and you think that'll make the difference, or like I've had a person got fired from Morgan Stanley, and they said, listen, if you get the license, we'll take you back, because they fired him after the one shot, and they said, if you get the license, we'll take you back. How the hell do you get a license? You got to get sponsored. So that's the problem, is that it's like, it's like the old, you don't have experience, so I'm not going to hire you, but you need experience. I can't get the experience without getting hired. That's the same thing. You can't get sponsored without working for a firm, and some people don't have the connections to get a job. So just be careful on the firms you pick. Make sure you check broker check before you take an offer from a job. Like a Northwestern or even a Primerica, or I think maybe Ameriprise maybe. Some of these places are LPL maybe. Some of these are very much eat what you kill, but they're legitimate firms. I just think it's a tough job not getting a salary. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the firms that are shit. They're cold calling. You said they're smiling and dialing and stuff like that, and they just hammer you through the 7. Literally, watch Boiler Room and Wolf of Wall Street, and you know what I mean. Those are the firms that get barred. And remember, once you work at a firm, it is always on your record. I can go all the way back to when I was in the late 80s, early 90s. That job is still there. So after 3 minutes of rambling, you can get the 7. If you want to get sponsored at a place, do it, but be careful.